Alrighty, everyone. Welcome to, whoop, there I am. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. Hi, I'm Richard Carlton. Most of you know who I am, but welcome to the new people. I'm the creator of FMTraining.tv, where we create great on-demand FileMaker training, as well as doing live stream recordings where we just kind of do this live based upon the skills that we have. It's pretty awesome. And we always have guest speakers with us. And so today we're going to be calling Myles in. We haven't had a chance to call him in yet. Let me see if I can go ahead and call Myles right now. I'm going to attempt to call him. And then Myles will probably join us. It'll be very exciting. Or maybe he won't join us. Myles, are you there?
I am.
He's there. That's very awesome. I like that. So let me move this down a little bit. I'm adjusting my camera. It's always getting adjusted because of the way we move things around the screen and stuff, and I make myself a little smaller and more cuddly and nice and whatever. And so anyway, today's going to be on WebDirect. What is WebDirect? Well, before we get into what WebDirect is, I want to say that today's broadcast, for those of you wondering about this, is Bunny compliant. Once again, these are Bunny basics. We expect people who are brand new to the FileMaker community to start with basic kind of courses. This is what we call Bunny Basics. It's a new kind of, if you hear me call it this, it's because Bunny is here probably, or maybe he's not here right now. But he probably wishes he was here. He's a salesperson in the EU, and he's trying to learn FileMaker, and he's caught in a world between sales and FileMaker, and he's not sure which one he wants to do, or maybe he does FileMaker part-time. So he's trying to learn it. So brand new Bunny Basics compliant content, very exciting. I have a chart that kind of shows us a little bit better. So if you're a FileMaker developer, you're going to be, somewhere in this group here. Obviously, if you're a senior developer, you're up here in this section here. If you're Bunny Basics, you're down in this section here. Brand new developer, still learning the basics of a relationship, things like that. So today's broadcast is about WebDirect, which is not really about structuring a file so much as it is a third client that you have access to in the FileMaker platform that works pretty well. What I would say, it's not as awesome in my opinion as Go or WebDirect or Go or Pro, because it's based in a web browser, so you have the limitations and liabilities of a browser, but it brings you certain capabilities, like you can take browsers places you can't otherwise normally take. So today is a 2-day part of the conversation. Today's day 1, and then tomorrow will be day 2. But once again, we're doing Bunny Basics for those of you on. So as a reminder, one is that we do lots of live training here at RCC. Like I said, I'm the creator of FMTraining.tv, where we do live training. You can come to FM Training, press the live tab. You can see the upcoming schedule, which includes basically Bunny Basics basic courses for today and tomorrow. All right, so today is about WebDirect. So once again, a reminder, if you happen to be a lurker, well, we'll do it towards the end of the broadcast, but lurkers, we always try to make sure that they have all the current great content. So once again, today is kind of more basic. So if you're an advanced developer and I get like Ken Dito starts talking about virtual lists, I'm going to wring your neck, because today is not advanced stuff. The word virtual list shall not enter our vocabulary today, other than just right now, because it's basics, right? So let's talk about this. So what we have, so let's talk about, let me hide this. I'm going to hide everything else. Maybe I'll hide everything else. Is it going to let me hide everything else? Oh, my app is not running. Give me 1 second. I have an app called, I think it's Hide under H, Hide Me Pro. I like Hide Me Pro. What it does, I have a keyboard. It hides all the desktop clutter on my desktop. So I press one button, boop, and everything disappears so it can focus the conversation. So what we have is a FileMaker 19 server that is running about 75 miles from here in our Santa Clara office. So this is our FileMaker server. I've just logged onto it here. I'm remote controlling the machine there. We have... let me see. It's a site license here, so theoretically, you folks will be able to log on as many people as you want. Pretty cool. And so you can see that we have a number of FileMaker Pro clients here. I'm logged on currently. There are no Go clients, and there'll be WebDirect clients. So let's talk about what we have going here. If you go to databases, and this looks the same on Windows as it does on Cloud 1 or Cloud 2. Everything we're doing today can be done on all the servers, including Cloud 2. So these are the files that we have there. I had John Hogle, who'd been junking up the place. He'd been working on new versions. This is starting point 20. This is a special version of starting point, which is designed to explicitly work with MirrorSync without any modification. It works with MirrorSync. It's really awesome. There's no modifications necessary to use the Sync key software. So this is the version that you would use for enterprise deployments, or you would use for like you have people who are online and then they take their laptop offline or their iPad out in the desert or something. They have no internet. And so this is the 360 compliant one, which basically gives you enterprise syncing and replication capabilities. Different than this because the primary keys are different. For those of you who understand the conversation about primary keys a little bit, that's the serial numbers that every record has. Moving along, starting point 20 USE is on here. I'm logged on as a client. If I click right here, I can see I'm logged on. So I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to come back to FileMaker Pro on 19. And once again, you can be using 18 or 19 here as a client pretty seamlessly back and forth. It's not really a problem. And so what's important, though, is to understand is that if you go to Manage, I go to Security. There's an admin account right here. The admin account, I'm not going to give you, I want to give everyone a read-write account. I mean, maybe we could do admin account, but I don't have a compelling reason at the moment to do it because we're not testing your ability to build a solution or break a solution. We're testing your ability to log on. And then maybe put a picture of yourself in there. A safe for work picture of yourself, right? So if I got Top Cat or Elzo, one of you guys start stripping off clothes, that's going to be a problem, okay? So new record, new account, and we're going to call it live. Well, let's call it, the account names are not case sensitive, but I always write LiveStream like this. I actually looked it up. It's now in the Oxford Dictionary. That is a word. In the Oxford Dictionary, they list it like that. So that is apparently a new word. For those of you who can't see that, I will zoom in. That is LiveStream. That is apparently a word now. Remember, account names are not case sensitive. I'm going to put a password in here. I'm going to put the word LiveStream, all lowercase. So the username and password are basically the same. So LiveStream. And so this is now set. So you can log in. Now, what I can do very cleverly here is read-only access, but I want to put it as data entry only, which is great. But then I'm going to come down here and press the advanced settings right here. What I want to do is manage the data entry only count right here, right? And so I'm going to double click on it and I'm going to zoom out briefly here and then I'll zoom back in. So this is data entry only. It doesn't really allow you to change this stuff over here, but it allows you to change the extended privileges, which is the point of this conversation. I need you to see that, one, I can turn off FileMaker access right here, but I can turn on WebDirect access by making sure this is checked right here. Frequently, people will get them, they'll log on and they'll say, oh, you can't access with Pro or something. You'll upload a file, and then you can't get into it with Pro, and you were just in it with Pro. The reason is that, once again, we talked about this yesterday, FM app is this is one of the best questions to screw people up on the certification test. Because what they'll say, and I didn't really talk about this yesterday, but what they'll say is, hey, how do you control FileMaker Go access with the extended privileges? What extended privilege would you check? And they'll say FM iOS, okay? And they'll say FM phone or FM pad, and then they'll say FM app. Now, no one in their right mind would think that the engineers at Claris would think FM app would be a great thing, right? No. But that is the correct answer. The wrong answers make more sense on the certification test. That's why they put them in. I mean, it's just frustrating. So the only way you know this is by just either watching the live stream or learning this yourself. So this is Pro and Go access right here. I can enable this if you like. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to enable this right here with WebDirect. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have Myles. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And I'm going to have Myles go ahead and post. I'm going to type the link in here for those of you. I'm going to go to browser right here. And this is the link, but I'm going to have Myles type that in so you can just copy and paste that. Or I can give it to Myles. Let me see. Let me go to Slack. Let me see if I go to Myles right over here. Where's Myles at? If I go to Myles, and then I click over here. Can I paste that in there to you, Myles? There we go, I think. Did that go to you?
Yep, I got it.
All right, good. So try not to expose everything that you might have said, which, if you were admitting to crimes or something like that, or Anyway, so it would be good. All right, so here it is. So we're in here right now. If I go to contacts, there's not a lot. This is not the database with lots of records in it, right? We have databases. In fact, we're building a new enterprise size copy of Starting Point 2020. It's actually spinning right now. It's taking days to do. It's just generating, 5 or 10, 15, I think 15 million records and about 15 gigabytes. So, and we'll be using that for testing. But this has got 600 records, so if any of you want to add yourselves in here and put a picture of yourself, you can try to do that. Now, if I want to go into the browser myself, I can log on right here and do it. I'm going to hit the return key. Here's the file right here. I click on it. I can log in as an admin. I'm going to try to log in as you. LiveStream. I hit return. I can save the password if I want. It says welcome, and so here we are. We're in contacts here. We can do stuff, right? So I can add records, do all sorts of very cool stuff. Richard. And then the thing with the browser and the image is that, once again, you're not really hooked to the camera here very well with the web browser. Once again, people want to say, I want Android, and I want it to be as good as FileMaker Go on, the iPhone. And that's never going to happen, right? Because a browser, the iPhone, FileMaker Go's tuned to that device, those devices, and they already know what's on there. But on a browser, will you have a camera? What's the API call to even get the camera? So you can say insert, then you have to you have to select a file and then upload it and all this sort of thing. And so instead of just taking a picture like you could with Go, so anyway, so that's how that works. So if those of you want to try to log in here, come in here. Technically, you can delete the records. I would really ask you probably behave yourself and not blow everything up. Would be awesome. And so we got that right there. And then that's contacts. I'm not sure how that came up, but it was my follow-up list, right? So there we go. So then you can say, oh, I want to show all. So I want to say find. Am I showing all records right now? Let me see. No, I'm not. I've omitted the one record. Oh, there's a new record there. So how do I do a show? See, that's the problem with this. Every once in a while, they do really squirrely stuff with this. So plus or minus. What is plus what? That's a new record, right? So I don't use WebDirect that terrible much. So that is a delete button, right? Okay, I'll delete that one. But how do I do... There we go. So over here, it depends on Go. I've been training on Go, and it's just slightly different enough. So you say show all records, and then I can go to I click on it. I can go to the end, right that, and then I got Myles. Okay, well, that doesn't count Myles if you do it. Now, if I just did, how come it keeps jumping the... Because I'm clicking on. I must be clicking up there. So there's no picture of you, Myles, on here? Oh, there he is. There's Myles right there. Excelente. So Andre says FileMaker Network is not enabled by default on 19, so you don't enable that and then upload. You won't be able to open the file. FileMaker Network. Yeah, it's not file. It's the. Actually, it turns that on for the most part, Andre. I thought. But I don't, I deal with so rarely with a brand new file like a blank file, because we always deal with Starting Point, which is pretty clean. We clean it, we make sure it stays clean, no corruption in it, things like that. But yeah, so the issue is that you have to have the file, and in order for it to be shared, is that still... It's always frustrating to go through this stuff. Normally when you upload a file, those checkboxes get turned on. Right, so there you go. Okay, cool. So Andre's typing something. Sign in is not working for me. Okay, well, it just worked for me. Myles, you guys want to try it?
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay, you're in. Let's see who else is in here. Let's see, flip. So we can actually look at this in Pro at the moment. There's Ken Tooley. He logged in. Right on, Ken. Oh my God, there's Ken's picture there. Right on. I'm gonna zoom out just a smidge. There's Myles. There's Nathan. Nathan, yeah, he always puts his Nathan as logistical controls or whatever that company logo is. It's pretty cool. And here it is in Brow, and once again, this is WebDirect. So they look very, very, very similar, okay? And how they operate very similar. It's just that you're dealing with a browser, and so you have these built-in limitations, right? It's also not great for public access. For this to work reliably, for WebDirect to work reliably, you really need to have the latest browser. And only browser supporters are Chrome, Safari, Edge, and Internet Explorer 11 if you're so unlucky to still have that. Firefox is not even a supported list. Doesn't matter what version of Firefox. Now, Firefox might work, but if you have a problem, Claris is going to go, whatever. Although, if you call Claris with a bug with some browser, I'm pretty sure it's going to be whatever anyway. So I don't see that as being. Oh, the file. I'm sorry if you guys were watching. The file is starting point, right? So we take a look at it. You'll see the list of files here. These are the files. So you're looking for the one that says FMSP_20 USC. That's US version. Enhanced. It's the enhanced version. Yeah, there's 14 clients in here. Check this out, right? So if I come over here, I go back to our dashboard. It's educational for you. For them of you who don't deal with server too much. So we have 15 WebDirect people logged on, one Pro person. I guess it's me. We did open it, so you can open it Pro, and you can open it and Go if you want. And really, because this is we're using an enterprise license because of who we are, we buy kind of this like enterprise license. You all can log in here. Claire said it might not be totally legal for me to have you do that, and I said, well, if you want to send your attorneys to hang out with us on the broadcast and explain to me how evil we are for promoting the product, then they're welcome to do that. So we'll be happy to have their people show up or whatever, right? I told them that probably would not be the brightest thing they ever did, but Claris is Apple, and Apple does what they want, so there you go. Yeah, so you're going to go to WebDirect. So once again, the process is here is you're going to go, if I just like close the browser and I totally reopen the browser, okay? So here's my browser. If I say view, show the favorites bar or something like that, so I got some servers here. And then normally you would go to Google or something, right? So you go Google, there's Google. Everyone feel better now? And so here we are in Google. Then what we do is the link is the link that you see there. It's the HTTP Fortnite slide for bunny. There's the bunny slide, all our cool stuff. I'm not sure why I was guessing what I might want with games in here. So HTTP, was it an S on there? It is. :// ETS. There it is. ETS. That's my server, right? But then I want Claris WebDirect. So it's this link right here. When you get it, it comes this screen right here. This file, I don't know what the status of this file, if you can get into that or not. This file is set to read only. Anyone can log on, but it's read only. You can't. It's like a sample file, right? And this one you folks can read and write. So you log on with LiveStream, and then boom, you're in. Now, here's one of the pieces that really pisses me off about this product. It's like one of my #1 complaints. And it is pretty obvious. So you start navigating. You're like, oh, let's go forward a record. Oh, let's go back a record. Oh, let's do this. Oh, let's do that. And then you inadvertently go up here and try to use those buttons, okay? If you use that button right there, it's going to make you, it'll log you out, send you back to the home screen, the WebDirect screen, and have you log in. And you lose your spot. So if you were in a certain spot somewhere, gone. It destroys your session. So the fact that you have that up there, in an ideal world, you would find a way of suppressing that or making that go away, but a forward and back button in browsers is kind of a thing. So it's really kind of not good, right? I don't know what to say. I don't know that, listen, if it was an easy fix, Claris would have fixed it. I don't know if it could be fixed at all, right? It's just kind of unsavory. At one point, Chrome didn't have the buttons there. They were some over on the right side or something, and they moved them. So now if you go to Chrome, they're almost in the same spot. It's really unfortunate. So if I go to the very last record here, I'll go to the very last record. Some people are putting their pictures in here or just creating records, which is fine. It jumps back to the, okay, so I'm in accounts, contacts. I'm on 7 there, so yeah, so I click, oh, you know, I'm trying to click out. Here, let me just see if I can hit the escape key. Okay, I need to learn to do that. What I'm doing is I click on here, and on Pro, you would just click out somewhere, right? But I'm hitting a button by accident, what's happening. So you have to learn to use that escape key with your middle finger. So anyway, no one take that the wrong way. So we're on record 7. Someone created a blank record. We probably can look and see who it was. Will it tell me? Well, probably won't tell me who it was. It'll say WebDirect Foxtrot Echo Delta 1 created this record, right? So it does give you a little bit of who created it, but not really super useful. That's why having an individual account is better. So that's the machine name, and this is the account that was used, right? Not the password, but the account. So I'll zoom back out. We'll go backwards a record. There's Keith. Hi, Keith. Things are going good. St. Petersburg, awesome. St. Petersburg, where was that at over here? St. Petersburg. You said that. Yeah, that's Jericho. Right on. That's Jericho 1, call sign Jericho 1. See, we have to edit that. So this is AKA Jericho. Wait. Oh, hey, we have record locking. This is what record. Now, here's a thought. Look at that message. That is a pile of crap message right here. You get, if you have a customer, you might want to have to train them on what that is, but that's why if you had their name in there, like it was Fred, Dick, Sally, Sam, or whatever, it would say WebDirect, Sarah Smith, using WebDirect, the WebDirect. But then you'd see Sarah Smith is modifying the record. You can't do this until blah, 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 Sarah Smith is finished. That's why you really, really want individual usernames and passwords. So Keith is still in there. Keith, you putting your picture in there, or what do you do? Oh, no, Keith is out now. Keith released the record. So I can call him Jericho 1, call sign, right on. Jericho. Is that how you spell Jericho? See, I did it again. I was clicking out. I got to quit doing that. All right, so that's that one. So you folks are putting your stuff in here. Michael's there. Awesome. Oh, hey, Tom. Nice picture. There's Tom up there hanging out. So, yeah, so that's how this works, right? Pretty cool stuff. A couple more records have popped up. So Jack the Ripper, that's nice. Okay, so then people start trying to one-up each other on that, right? So then we got Sal, and he's the main cheese and marketing at 3PS Data. So that's awesome. So I'm obviously dealing with the CEO there. Nice, Sal. Nice to see you. So John Pollard has a bunch of questions here. I'm just going to look at these real quick. Sign-on's not working for me. The account password you enter cannot be opened with this file. Is this contacts? Log WebDirect. Yeah, so I guess it wasn't super clear. Hopefully that's not. Where's the new record button? At the top of the screen right here. The big plus is the record button. The negative is the delete. So it's add record, delete a record, sort, obviously, and obviously do a find. Questions. I'm looking for questions. Just keep in mind there's about a 60 to 90 second delay from YouTube and Twitch. The Discord people are getting it in real time. When I close the navigator, the record gets unlocked. The navigator, like this, like. I mean, if you're to lock the record, so one, you have to be in the field, then you have to do an edit. Now the record's locked on this written girl, whatever that is, and then I have to click out, and that unlocks it. But if you're here and then you navigate to another record, it released the previous record, and then you're on the next record. But because I haven't hit edit yet, it's in here. It knows it wants to be in here. Like if I go next record, it's in here, but it doesn't record lock until you do an edit. So just being in the field doesn't matter. So as I go through here, I'm not locking. Only if I put like a character in there, now it's locked, right? This record is locked. So pretty cool. Yeah, so David, if you close the browser, it releases, right? Obviously, it knows that. Here's the thing that would happen. So here's probably a question that David might be asking. So it's more. So here's the way FileMaker works. So if you're on a client and you're talking to a FileMaker server, doesn't matter which server, the server considers your client to be alive, and I use the words alive in quotes. If it sends you a ping if it hears from you every 120 seconds or 2 minutes, that's a concrete number. You can time it on a watch and watch what happens. So if you unplug from the internet and then plug back in less than 120 seconds, the server, you'll reestablish communication with the server. You won't even know it's gone down unless you were trying to do something and you were blocked. But the server won't release. So if you lock a record and then you crash, or you go out of internet range, or the internet fails, or whatever, your client is no longer responsive. That record will remain locked, and your state will be saved with that server for 120 seconds. If it doesn't hear from you, it assumes you have died a horrible death, and then it will gracefully disconnect you and release the record. Make sense? So that's how that works. So otherwise, the client will tell the server, hey, I'm done. If you change the layout, you change the record, you click out of a field, whatever, all those things, or you run the script step called commit record, right? All those things will release the record. So it's, here's the thing with WebDirect. Here's the thing. People saw, when I first saw this, I was like, hey, this is really great. Here's the reality with this. I have had to refund 2 major projects. They weren't major, but it was like, they didn't refund our time, because the companies didn't hold us responsible, but they forced a refund from Claris because this technology is skittish. If you're going to use this, you need to use a very standardized web browser and a standardized server. So what do I mean by standardized server? So who of you, I can't remember who works at Sandia Labs, right? And they probably run their own servers in those labs, okay? Who was that? Who was in the labs? Canberra, that was you, Canberra, okay? You are a risk case for WebDirect working. Go always work, Pro always work. They could block the traffic, but for example, I was a biotech company. They have a database where they're going to acquire companies. So if you knew who they were going to acquire, you knew the value of those companies. That's called insider trading, but that happens all the time with people. They get some inside information, they use it to their personal benefit. So this stuff's in FileMaker, it's highly secure. They set up their own data centers at this biotech company. They say, oh yeah, we're going to use a server, we're going to be in here. Not one person in the company knew anything, in the IT group knew anything about FileMaker. They put it in there, they do kind of a minimal install, but they have some jury-rigged security firewall stuff with all sorts of stuff that to this day we don't know what they were doing. But they were, hey, we're super secure. Well, they secured it to such a degree that WebDirect wouldn't run. If you tried to restart the server, about 1 out of 5 times the FileMaker server would work. The only way it could be corrected, FileMaker engineering got involved, and FileMaker went like this, okay? Now, I'm not saying that FileMaker wants to have their engineers engage on this, but it creates a very unsavory situation. And if you're a kind of a person that's kind of partially in sales, it's a very unsavory situation because you have a fail. It's like if your Ford car, or your Toyota, or your BMW goes 65 down the freeway, but you really want to go 70 down the freeway, then it just shuts off, right? And you're like, what the hell? It's supposed to work. Oh, no, it just shuts off. Well, we don't know why, but we weren't in the car with you, so we don't care, and we're not going to fix it. That is literally the question. So basically, it got ugly, and then Claire said, "I'm not going to," or FileMaker at the time said, "I'm not going to argue with you," and they just refunded the money. But it's really unsavory. So I don't like putting, like, if Canberra wanted to do this at Sandia Labs, I'd be like, let's put the server in there, turn it on, make sure it works, and then we can talk about doing a project for you. Say that was a conversation, because I'm never gonna. I mean, that was they cooked the data center so badly that that whatever assumptions that Claris was making when the software would boot, they weren't true assumptions in terms of configuration or network performance, and it would just fail. So I don't like to be the guy. I don't want to be the guy who crashes the airplane or kills the passengers, or it's like these stories about, oh, the California Department of Motor Vehicles has spent, $300 million. That's why one of the governors was recalled like 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Actually around 2000. Gray Davis, he was recalled largely because people were really tired of corruption. And I don't know that he was necessarily corrupt, although if you're a governor of a state of California, you probably have a finger in a cookie jar somewhere. But the Department of Motor Vehicles spent $500 million on a system that totally sucked, and it was worthless. And it was like Oracle. And they pulled the plug, and it was a big lawsuit. And then they recalled the governor. It cost him his job. And the guy now is some attorney at some firm, probably making more money than he was as a governor. But a governor of California is like pretty high up the political food chain in the world, right? You may not like them, but it just because of the size and the power of the state, it's not a trivial job. So, once again, Andre's talking about configurations of data centers and things like that. So once again, I don't promise WebDirect unless the customer. I just try to listen. FileMaker Pro generally has never let me down. Go generally doesn't let me down almost ever. I have to say that. But the last two major projects I had, so I steer my customers away from WebDirect because what they'll do is they'll go, okay, I want to do they'll give you these requirements, right? So here's the thing. People that are going to use your services are generally pretty smart. And so they're going to say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And you know that Pro does that, and on the list of all the things that Go does that too. And then they get into the project a little further and they say, oh, and I want to add signature capture. WebDirect doesn't do that. There is no signature capture because it's a browser. The browser could exist on 1,000 different kinds of devices. Only some of them have touchscreens with signature capture. So There's no hook for that. You'd have to jury rig a JavaScript thing in there to make it work. And so I don't want to get in the habit of being telling a customer, yeah, you've selected WebDirect. I was telling you it was great. Now I have to tell you it sucks and it won't go where you want to go. And then the conversation goes like this. Well, you should have, we told you about this. I said, no, you didn't tell us about this. Well, you should have anticipated. Once you're into that kind of conversation with a customer, you as a consultant have failed. You have failed your job. You have failed the customer. The customer might be an idiot and not have told you, but you've got yourself into bed with a technology that can't get there. And with Pro and Go, I know that there's an unlimited level of awesome additional API related stuff that we go in there and we can solve any problem. It's almost nothing you can't do with Pro. For sure, Go to slightly less degree. But I just, I've never been burned like that. So WebDirect, as long as you control, you really know the end requirements and it meets them. So everything you like about Go, right? GPS, near field communication, signature capture, camera control, all this stuff gone out of WebDirect. So you have to take it's just basic FileMaker, and as long as you have an API that works, you get into it, it'll work just fine. Like if you have a API that talks to QuickBooks, or an API that talks to PayPal, or a chart, right, or whatever, right? You can do the charting in here. In fact, Calvin's got the calendar kit. The calendar in here is supposed to work in WebDirect. Am I in WebDirect? I'm in WebDirect. Let's do the calendar. Of course, it doesn't work. Nope, there it goes. So it loaded, right? So there we go. Can I click in here? Does it work? It's kind of a little pokey, but I'm on a really slow setup right now because I'm broadcasting all this out anyway. Yeah, Canberra, I would use WebDirect if Go and Pro don't work. Like now, there's a handful of people that go out there and they're kind of a narrow niche, because what happens with WebDirect, there's a couple things that WebDirect will do faster than Pro if you tell Pro to do it locally. Because remember, understand WebDirect, okay? So here's a really important concept. If you watch our training, it's in there. Nick talks about this at great length. I'm going to go and close this window. Oh, I'm back here, okay? So here is Pro, okay? So let's talk about this. So here is Pro. It has its own database engine. It has cached data locally. This is WebDirect. There's no local brains of it at all, almost none, very limited. It doesn't really cache data locally except some images maybe, etc., maybe a little bit of things, but there's no brains in it. So if you say, run a script, do this, click information here, do anything, Pro will do it for you, and then it says, well, crap, I can't quite do all this, so let me get the server to help with a little bit, okay? So it only uses the server if it needs to. That gives you local power. Go is the same way. This thing over here, if you scratch your head, oh, no, got to talk to the server. So it goes off the server. It's server intensive. Bam, 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 everything you do. Like if you if you start tabbing down here and you trip script trigger, Go or Pro will try to do the script trigger for you. They might have to go and say, hey, give me the code. And they'll download the script code, and then it'll run it locally if it can. There's times when it can't, but mostly it would say, go to this layout, do whatever. Over here, it has to trip the script. The script has to run back on. There are times when that's beneficial, right? But not enough for me to guarantee that this is not going to do, squirrely stuff. Like, for example, our calendar kit works really great. What was really hard to make it work great was making it work in WebDirect, getting the JavaScript to work in WebDirect. Same thing with Claris. Claris has actually said this kind of publicly. Not like an official announcement. They said, oh, yeah, we've got on their website, you can say, we're going to bring a calendar to you. We're going to bring a Kanban board. We're going to bring all this stuff as part of 19 in the future, right? Notice that 19 shipped. It's not in there. Why is it not in there? They were having a hard time getting it to work with WebDirect. It works fine with Pro and Go. It's like, but they want everything to work great on the browser too, which is a really much higher bar, right? So, what they have in WebDirect is amazing. Nick loves this. He's a big, big fan of WebDirect. Yeah, so Michael, the whole conversation about performance, right, is super critical. The farther you are away from the server, we've had videos on this. It's in the training. You have my training. Just do a search for latency, right? So if I show all my icons here, here's the build 25. Oh, we did post, you'll see this here in a second. I did post, if I get the latest here, I say get the faster. We did started posting the UI, user interface, and user experience videos. It's not a very deep course, but it is in here. So if you come down here, you all will see this right now. It's the UI course right here. But if you come over here and do a search, the new one you don't have yet, Build 26, has a search up here. For the moment, just pick a course, come over here, type latency, hit return. Here you go. Link conditioner talks about latency, lean design, short course, daily live streams, slow network testing. You might want to watch this live stream right here. That might not be too bad. So maybe you can't see this, but I did a search for latency up here. And then these are the hits. And it prioritizes anything in the newer courses, the current courses or the live stream at the top of the list, and then older ones down here. But the latency is measured in milliseconds. So in fact, it was part of this conversation over here. I remember having some guys in Europe argue with me about it. So basically the rule of thumb that I use on latency is that, like, if I ping, this is a really good one. I guess we could cover this. It's kind of basic stuff today. Do I have my network tool in here? Probably. Oh, it is right here. So on Windows, you're going to do it a little differently. So this is what we call a network tool. On a Mac, it's called the network utility. It used to be in the utilities folder. They hide it now, so you have to do a search on your Mac to find it. But it's in here, even in 10.15. I don't know if it's in Mac OS 11. Hopefully it is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in, like here, if I ping Google. So this is literally like sonar on a submarine. Bing! And you let for it reflect off the other submarine, right? So I ping, and it's pinging me, and it's coming back saying that the time from there and back is 28 milliseconds, right? So this is that standard ping time. And so if I zoom in over here, you can see these numbers, okay? That's pretty damn fast as far as I'm concerned. But it's important to frame the conversation. So if you're running a FileMaker solution locally, okay, I guess I can put myself over here briefly. I keep moving myself around, so because I wave my hands at you, and you can't see me if I'm not waving my hands. So if I come back over here real quick, that's part of that upgraded software we have. If you're running a FileMaker file locally, there is no latency. It's as fast as you can get the data off the hard drive, which is why a solid-state drive is important. If you have a network in your office, like on one floor, I'm not talking about Sandia Labs, that's a bigger network, but like a normal office, your ping time from you to a machine on the other side of the building will be 0.5 to 1.5. So this is 25, so imagine 1 millisecond would be an office speed, maybe 1.5. If you were in a 8-story building like in Sandia Labs and you're talking to a machine across the campus through a couple buildings, it might be 2, maybe 3 milliseconds, okay? Those are extraordinarily fast performances, okay? That's what you call a FileMaker server. People say, I want my server in my office. When they do that, they get that. Now look, at these times are pretty fast, okay? 28, I consider anything under 30 really great. And then that was the guys in Europe going, oh, we consider anything under 10 really great. Well, under 10, in the United States, you don't generally get that. And the farther you are out of town, you're not going to get that kind of speed. Now, if I talk to a server on the East Coast, so I'm on the West Coast, so this is this server. I'm not sure where that server is, but I can tell you that, like, if I go to my office, I go to the ets.rcc.com. This server is in Santa Clara, 75 miles away. The networks are kind of okay. And so we're getting, that's really slow, okay? So that's erratic all over the place. Oh, you know what that is? It's because you guys are all in there doing stuff, right? So what I can do is I can say send an unlimited number of pings and starts going. So 178, 163, 72, 150, those are all over the place, and makes me wonder if that's on my side or their side. Normally anything that is a packet that actually died and never made it. That is horribly slow. Anything under 100 is going to be okay for FileMaker. Anything above 100 could be problematic. So notice that FileMaker over here is still working fairly well, which is kind of interesting. So if you guys and gals are playing with this, yeah, you're getting the same thing off of that server, right? So that's from Ken's in Albuquerque. So Ken, your number's the same as mine are. I'm guessing that there are some network issues in that office, right? Because notice that mine, now there are other apps. So understand, once again, network basics here, okay? So here's another basic concept. you have a modem in your office, a internet modem, an internet router. Okay, you call it what you want to call it. It's a box that everyone kind of talks to, and then the internet traffic kind of comes out of this box. It's magical box. It's magical beans, magical fairy dust, right? So along the internet, especially with these internet companies like Comcast and AT&T and Sprint and Rogers and all the other companies around the globe, they have like big networks, like wires like this full of fiber. There's still these router things. The routers are the size of refrigerators and stuff like that. Cisco, right? We're talking $1 million devices and stuff like that. So anyway, between here and Santa Clara, there'll probably be 5 or 6 different hops. A hop is a section between routers. Every time it hits the router brings the data in, it looks at where it's going, and it forwards it. But that takes about a millisecond or two in there in that machine. So going across the wire is one thing, but most of the delay is caused when you hit these routers or switches or whatever you want to call them, modems, and that traffic has to be analyzed and it forwards correctly, right? When you have an internet outage, one of those routers is off or broke. And so the traffic hits it and it dies. That's why you have an outage. If you have an outage out in the middle of the internet, then some websites will be fast, some websites will be slow. If that router goes down close to where you're at, your entire internet may be gone, right? And so there are tools out there. We have a tool on the Mac called Ping Plotter. It actually shows you the time between each of the hops. This is just showing us the round trip over here, right? So the round trip is getting better. So for whatever reason, there was a problem. A lot of data was being moved. Now, I don't know if you can see down here, but I'm getting times that look, normally what I see over there from this office to that office is about 45 and below is normal, right? And so once again, starting point works really great. Oh, you can see my watch. Starting point works really great with any speeds below 100. It'll obviously go above 100, but people will do, anytime you start sorting data or doing big reports or anything, it makes it go slower. And so if I have a bunch of you logged on over here doing things, I don't even know how many people are logged on. I guess we could check that again. Is it there? Let me zoom out. Oh, there it is. It's hiding. Oh, well, that's part of the problem. It's pushing these. Okay, this is stupid. Okay, I'm logged on to the machine remotely. It's got like these graphics going, right? And so those graphics are at high definition. It's sending me almost like a live stream video to myself. This is dumb. Very stupid. So yeah, questions about this stuff. So double digits versus, double digits. Listen, we engineered starting point to work at about 100 milliseconds and below, so double digits. It will work. You can get productive work up to about 300. Anything above 300, you want to start like vomiting because it really lags. When Nick Hunter Lean Design lags, you know you got a problem. Okay. So comments or questions? Myles, are you there? Do you do too much WebDirect?
I'm here. Not too much. I've kind of only one customer comes to mind that actually uses it, and actually, purposely, which is, they have some techs on a floor, and so they have one machine set up with WebDirect, and they're just doing simple like looking up records, and a little data entry. So
now, this is consistently with what I see in my office. So obviously me doing the screensaver has made it much better, but I see numbers that look like that's pretty typical. Questions from the troops. Pollard, dumb question. WebDirect work on desktop? Yeah. I am on desktop, so I don't know. Hello. Right? So here I am. Right? So I am on a desktop, right? So here we go. So here I am. Here's Richard. There's the computer. There's the Mac. That's it. Right? And then there's the Mac Mini over there under a whole huge cooling system and a bunch of other crazy stuff, right? And then the external hard cooling on it because it gets really warm because it's Apple doesn't believe in actually cooling their machines anymore. They just prefer, they get to about 210 degrees and they shut the processors down. So they go really slow. So anyway, so that's my desktop. Now, why did Claris do, or why did FileMaker do WebDirect? To get it to work on Android devices. So, all right, David, is FMAP on? Yeah, it's on. I think it's on. It should be on, right? You can't get in with Pro or Go. The LiveStream, I did LiveStream, yeah. So I come here. Let me see. Well, I'm in it right now, and I'm in Pro, but I'm in with my account. All right, let me check the security for you guys. So once again, I'm logged in as an admin. There's a live stream one there. I say I'm going to zoom in. So I'm going to zoom in right here. All of you can see this. So I'm in the security file, manage security in FileMaker. Okay. I'm in that person, but I want to see this person. I click on it, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to hit advanced. And then it's going to show me privileges, but I really want to see extended privileges. There's a couple different ways of seeing this. If I go to the FM app, it'll show you what accounts are set up. So data entry only. Oh, yeah, but you're data entry only, right? Yeah, so it says it's FM app is enabled. Go and Pro should work just fine for you folks, right? So it's on, right? I could also, let me see, I could do it. I could say advanced, and then I would double click the data entry only, which is, see, it says LiveStream right there. So data entry only and LiveStream, double click, come over here. It says FileMaker app is on, WebDirect is on, reauthentication in 5 hours. I can turn that on. PHP and XML and ODBC are off. So if you're trying to make calls using that, it won't work. URL protocols can call it, do stuff if that's not on, but I don't know if it really matters. So yeah, it's all good. You should be in there okay. Let's take a look at the server real quick. I do want to do that. Log on as an admin. I want to see how many people are logged on. Only 10, so a lot of you have logged off. So you were on, now you're gone. All right, so I'll go and close that. So we're not anywhere near like really overloading the capacity of it. So what I want to do is I'm going to go there. I'm going to close that. Give me a second, close that. Okay, I'm going to bring over QuickTime. We were talking about Go yesterday, so I'm going to say Go. Now, close that. I'm going to say new movie recording, and then we're going to see myself. Hello, Richard. I go to iPad, and then if it can talk to it, hello, there we go. So you see my iPad over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to host down the bottom right corner right there. I'm going to say go to the ETS server right there. I'm going to go to the 20 USC right there. It wants my fingerprint on there. Can't get in. So it's LiveStream, right? LiveStream. And then the same password, right? LiveStream. Go. I just opened it. What version of Go are you using?
He's putting the WebDirect link into Go.
Okay, so if you're putting the WebDirect link into... Yeah, so those are two different things. So that's, you saw how I just did it just now, right? That's how you do it with Go. So now I'm logged on as Go over here. That link, if you paste that link into a browser, it's going to pop the browser. So you're using a browser. So yeah, so does that make sense? He should be hearing it. Make sure he's... Yeah, no, for that. Okay, so for if you want to access the server, yeah, the server is ets.rcc.com if you're in Go or Pro. So if you're coming over here to, yeah, so here's what you want to do. Sorry, I didn't follow. It took me a second to catch up. See, I'm not a very smart person. Let me quit starting point. See over here on the left side over here, I'm gonna kind of like zoom in. See if I can. Won't let me zoom in. I'll zoom in a little bit. I need more hands here. So here we go. So that is what you're going to put in. You're going to add the server. You hit add server. Oh, I'm trying to do it with a mouse. Sorry. It's a finger. Boop. And then you're going to put in the ets.rcc.com. That's all you put. Okay? That's all you put. Okay? Makes sense? There you go. Oh, I keep trying to. Man, I tell you. All right, Myles. Questions I'm missing here? No, it's just it's exposure. You guys, I mean, you start using what works and then you quit learning new things. Me doing training on WebDirect is super useful for a lot of reasons. Not the least of which is that I don't use it that often. I use Go sometimes. I almost never use WebDirect. Nick uses it all the time. The guy loves it. It's like crack for Nick. He loves it. So anyway, other questions? It's a little bit past 2 o'clock. I want to make sure we answer any questions that people have. WB link will not work. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So, but pretty neat stuff. And so once again, starting point is engineered to really handle. We've actually maxed it out at about 300 or 400 people on a pretty beefy server, and people were coming in from around the world. So we're gonna one up ourselves on that towards the end of July with the enterprise level replication. So imagine. Not one server, but and not this. This is a Mac Mini. I'm talking about a server with like 20 processors on it. They're like $100 a day kind of servers. But if you're in the enterprise, $100 a day for a server, right? You know, it's $36,000 a year. If you're in the enterprise, that's maybe okay. I mean, do any of you need that? Probably not. But if any of you are actually working with a customer and they need to have 500 people connected, yeah, you might want that, because now you're dealing with a real solution, right? And then if I had 500 people connected, I would set up probably at least 2 servers and have them replicate back and forth. You can support the broadcast by purchasing one of our FileMaker training bundles. We talk about the training all the time. There's a limited amount of free training you can do. If you would like all the amazing training, we have these 2 bundles. We can get these to you at a little bit of a discount. But this one comes with FileMaker 19 for Mac and Windows, and this one just comes with the video training only. So let us know if you have questions about that. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop them in Discord, which I will check, or send them to support@RC Consulting. If it's like a legit tech support question, send it to support, right? If you have an idea about the broadcast or something about the demo today, then you can shoot that to Discord, okay? Because I monitor Discord, but the tech support people generally don't monitor Discord. So I've got them just training them to watch the automatic FileMaker system that talks to email and then does that. It's pretty cool. If you have questions, we can talk about that. Once again, Jeffrey Smith from Alabama, welcome to you as well. I didn't mention your name earlier. And then Canberra ran his plane out of gas, and then he had to glide to the runway or glide to the freeway, whatever works for him. Cool. All right, that's it, everyone. I'll catch you tomorrow. Thanks.
Guys just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected the quarterback. Great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Trying to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the 4th. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap. Stands in, throws it left for Amendola. Reaches up and snags a high throw and lands inside the 10. Rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.